Hello you guys, and welcome to Abundantly Minimal. My name is Sarah, and in today's video I'll be sharing 5 ways to manage your money like a minimalist. About 2 months ago I put together a video about strategies to save money, and you guys seem to really enjoy that video. I will link it below if you haven't yet seen it. And since that was a video you guys seem to really enjoy, I wanted to put together another video that was similar, but unlike the last one, which focused exclusively on savings, I think there are some larger principles that we can keep in mind when managing our money from a minimalist perspective. Savings one part of that, but there's other parts as well that we want to make sure we're taking care of as we are managing our money. So I'm going to go through those 5 strategies today. But first, quick disclaimer, I am not an official financial professional. Everything I'll be talking about today are things that I either educated myself about or have been learned from experience. So definitely keep that in mind as well. And I think it's really important that you do your own research as you try to make informed financial decisions that are going to be best for your situation. Also, my husband and I are both minimalists, and we feel like these different money approaches have worked for us and also align with our minimalist lifestyle. But of course, I'm sure there are other minimalists who practice different money habits, and that's totally fine too. Everyone ultimately has to do what's best for them, and I'm hopeful that at least in sharing these ideas, maybe there's at least one takeaway that you can use to help improve your situation. But obviously we're all in different walks of life, different experiences, different past choices, etc. Let's begin. The first way to manage your money like a minimalist is to be informed. I'm always surprised just how little education there is about money and wealth, when in reality, just taking a little bit of time to educate yourself about your financial situation and figure out what your financial goals are can help you exponentially in the long run. Unfortunately, at least in the US, I don't think our school systems do enough to teach financial literacy. I know I teach social studies and I throw in stuff when I can. We have the kids do a budget project. We are going to be doing some investing discussion and activity coming up, but it's definitely not enough. It's really important to, whether that's with podcasts, YouTube channels, books, talking to someone, trying to figure out what you want your money to be doing, what your financial goals are, and how you're going to get there is so critical. We have to first allow ourselves that time to learn it and understand it. That education looks a little different. I was very fortunate. My parents, they taught me a lot about how to manage money responsibly, and my sister and I were actually at the table every year. We did a financial review where we went through all the numbers. This is how much we spent. This is how much we saved. These are the different ways we're saving money in these types of accounts. And as a kid, that was so helpful because I was able to actually understand what our financial situation was and say, okay, wow, we spent more money than we should have here. Let's try to cut back. And I was definitely very happy to be involved in those conversations, being informed about your financial situation and what your financial goals are, how to get that set up. Some of my biggest money mistakes from early on happened because I was not as educated about what was going on. So really take the time to educate yourself, because that is the foundation for having a successful financial situation. The second approach to managing your money like a minimalist is to make things automatic. The beauty about today's day and age is that for pretty much any type of account you have, you can probably set up automatic payments or automatic transfers. Jake and I literally have everything except one thing, which I'll talk about in a moment, set up using automatic transfers, which means it's on autopilot. I don't have to waste time thinking about what my money is doing. We have all of our bills set up to be automatically paid for utilities and that kind of thing, so it's never something that's causing us stress or that we have to actually think about. We have our retirement savings automatically transferred out of the account. We have our investments automatically transferred out of the account. Those transfers both come out every other week. We have them alternating. And we also have some transfers into specific accounts within our high yield savings account. So I know I've talked about it many times on the channel. Don't just keep your money in a regular traditional bank account because you'll get paid pretty much 0 interest, but we have a high yield savings account with the high yield savings accounts. We have some sub accounts in there. You get a much higher interest rate. So right now, at the present moment, we have 2 transfers that are happening. We already keep our emergency fund in there, so it's earning big interest every month. I also have a business account, and then we have a car account as well to cover car maintenance, or at some point if we are to upgrade one of our cars once they die. So we've got that set up there. In the past, we had our house fund there. We have everything automatic. This is crucial because once you have it set up, you really don't have to make those big financial decisions, take that energy thinking about it. If you were to break it down mathematically, I feel like about 90% of having successful decisions with wealth and managing your money in a really beneficial way is figuring out the accounts, how much you can contribute, setting all of that up so it automatically works. And then after that part is done, maybe like the other 10% is just checking in, logging in, just making sure everything looks good. And that takes a lot less energy than trying to make the big decisions of, well, how much do I contribute here? When do I contribute it? You plug it in automatically and it's super easy. The only one we don't actually have set up automatically, even though we could, is our mortgage. Since paying off our mortgage really quickly is a priority to us, we did budget, we cut back in a few areas just to make sure that we had at least $1,000 extra per month we can throw into the mortgage. But if we can be extra diligent each month, then I love to throw in extra money. It gives me so much joy to watch that total number of interest, number just keep dropping and dropping dramatically actually with each extra payment. So it's been really fun to do that. And I know just last month we had some extra money left over, so I was able to just throw that in with the mortgage as well. So that's the only one we don't do. But for regular bills and things, there's not usually as much incentive to throw that extra money in. Another important approach for managing your money like a minimalist is tackling debts. Now with this, again, there are different perspectives on it, but the way I see it, when we're simplifying our lives, as we continue to let go of more items, it's a way of sort of regaining control. At least in my own experience, when we had tons of stuff everywhere, I always felt out of control, or that my possessions actually had a large effect on me. However, as you simplify, then there's this sense of freedom that comes in. And in my opinion, I think debt can be the same way. Whenever you owe someone money, or whenever you're paying debt for whatever it is, it can feel frustrating because it feels like it limits that freedom. So from my perspective, trying to pay off these debts as quickly as possible is a really cool option. I know I'm just going to give a shout out to one channel I really like, A Merry Life. I don't know if you've checked that before, but she's got a lot of really great videos about debt payoff. Of course, I also think minimizing debts when possible is important. So just using the house example, we did purchase a house, which obviously we did go into debt for, but we did choose something that was pretty much on the lowest end of our price range. Based upon our 2 salaries, we were approved for up to $300,000, but our house that we bought was $161,000, which is a huge difference. Even though we would have been allowed to purchase a much more expensive house, we knew that was not an approach we wanted to make. We did not want to buy more than what we could afford, and we knew we did not want to pay the mortgage off over a much longer period of time. So for us, it was the most responsible choice to just choose something a lot cheaper. And the great part is too, we still love it immensely, and honestly, it's perfect for us at this stage of life. Really being mindful of that. Even if you can purchase more, even if they'll lend you that money, is that necessarily the right approach? The next minimalist approach to finance is to be very intentional with your money. Specifically, make sure each dollar that comes into your account has a location where it's going. One thing I've found for myself in the past when I wasn't managing my money as well was that if I just had leftover money just hanging out in the checking account, technically, yes, we are saving it, but it would be very easy to buy additional items that we didn't actually need. But these days we have everything set up in a way where the money has a destination. I actually reworked our budget a little bit a couple months ago and changed a few things. And the way we broke it down is that with our budget, we have our 2 salaries, Jake and my salary, as well as money coming in from our roommate who lives with us. That covers all of our bills, all of our expenses, our bonus contributions, and there is $585 left after all of the required stuff and the bonus contributions we make left that we can use for spending. That includes food, restaurants, if there are things we have to buy. That's not really sacrificing, but that's like the max amount we could spend in a month. So we have to be really cognizant of that and aware of that, making sure we don't go over that. Now again, I'm not saying that's, an impressive number, but for us, that's the locked in amount. We cannot go more than that. And then I recently separated my business income. Then I have specific savings accounts it goes into in our high yield savings account. So every dollar is accounted for here. And since we set up those automatic transfers, like I talked about in tip number 2, the only money we have to actually think more about is in that spending category. So how much did we spend on groceries? How much did we spend on X, Y, and Z? And it can be a little stressful because since your money's going different places, your checking account balance is going to be a lot lower, but as long as you've got enough to cover transfers that are coming out of there, you're all good. So being very intentional about where everything's going will make sure it actually happens. It's that concept of paying yourself first to make sure you're able to take care of whatever financial needs you have. And then the last approach is to really closely monitor your spending. And with this one, it's really important. Just because you have the money, you don't necessarily have to spend that money. Thinking about what your actual needs are, that's a very minimalist approach, trying to figure out if you actually need something. Limiting that spending can be an incredible way to reach those financial goals for a lot of us, especially if we haven't monitored it before. A lot of banks and credit cards can show you your transaction history and break it down by category, which could be a really cool way to see what your habits are and kind of see if there's different things that you can do to monitor your money a little better. Now, of course, there's still going to be some consumption happening. However, we definitely can decide what is more of an essential purchase or a non-essential purchase and try to limit those non-essential purchases. I also like to think about it from the perspective of, if I purchase this and let's say I don't really get the value out of it, could I resell it? Could I still get value from it? And the honest truth is that typically the value you could get from selling it is very low, at least for a lot of consumer goods. I've never been like a super high-end shopper or anything, so maybe your products that you buy are a lot higher end and you might be doing that. You know me, I love buying used items and like keeping things very affordable and being as frugal as possible for the most part. The other layer is if you are needing to spend on certain items that are a necessity in your life based upon your lifestyle, if there are ways that you can save additional money from doing that. 2 specific strategies I'll talk about. The first up, if you are not good at managing money or using credit cards, and this one's probably not for you, but if you are pretty disciplined, having a credit card with some cashback rewards can be a nice little bonus. Jake and I are pretty good at managing our credit cards. Probably comes from me being excessively frugal, but when we do make purchases, it is nice to be able to get our credit card that we use as a 1.5% cash back on everything. So that does add up, and it's a nice little bonus here and there when we are doing those regular purchases, such as groceries. The second thing is that there's different cash back types of programs that are available, especially if you buy things online, such as Ebates is one that I have used. I wasn't too sure at the beginning about it, like how it would work, but I downloaded it and installed the little browser plugin, and it's been very convenient because if I am purchasing something online, it will pop up and say, hey, do you want to activate 5% cash back? And I just click the button and then I'll see that money in my account after that purchase, whatever the percentage is. And the craziest thing actually that just happened this past week, which is why I wanted to talk about it, is we renewed our internet contract. And with that purchase, the thing popped up, do you want to activate $67 cash back? And I was like, what? But yeah, we did it. And that was a huge bonus to be able to get that cash back. That was like, honestly, like 1 month free of internet provided then, which was really cool. I will put a link below to that, but if you do periodically purchase things online, that extra money definitely does not hurt, and just a nice way that you can then allocate some of that cash back to other types of savings accounts and that sort of thing. I hope this video was helpful. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will actually link some other financial related videos here that you can check out, and if you haven't already, you can subscribe to the channel right up here. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.